Hey guys, welcome back to Everything Anime Podcast. I'm one of your host Shinry. Here at the Everything Anime Podcast, talk about anime, manga, video games, TV shows, and whatever relevant topic we talk about. Today's video is on Demon Slayer Mugen Train Arc. And I know, if you guys have seen my Demon Slayer videos, the reason why we started Demon Slayer is because when I originally started Demon Slayer, it's because I binged Demon Slayer up to the Mugen Train movie just to go see it because it was showing in New York City. About a 1 minute walk away from my hotel. I had no interest in Demon Slayer before this movie, but because of this movie, I had got into Demon Slayer and I wanted to check it out. I was like, okay, this might be worth my time. And currently now caught up to the Mugen Train arc and finishing it, as well as the death of Rengoku in the manga. I went ahead and rewatched the movie to see if my thoughts had changed, because originally I didn't like the death of Rengoku. I thought like it was dragged out. I felt like he wasn't important, because as far as I knew, and still to this day, my thoughts have not changed, we didn't get enough of this Hashira for him to die and his death to feel super impactful. Although knowing it's a short anime, that can still happen, because you know, even Yu Yu Hakusho Genkai, we barely had much of her, but she was a great influence. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll still get that from him. And I kind of do, thanks to the manga and rewatching the movie and like knowing the story fully from start to finish. So we're going to go ahead and get into my thoughts of Mugen Train. We're going to talk about some of the highlights, talk about the story, and anything else I thought was memorable instead of doing a chapter by chapter breakdown. So let's get into it. So when Mugen Train opens up, I don't know if it was the same in the anime. I mean, it wasn't in the movie. This was in the manga. At least maybe like in the episode wise, it was shown before the movie started. But I remember, like I said, I half zoomed out of season 1 of Demon Slayer on Netflix just to go see the movie. But when it opens up, the master is walking with his wife through a graveyard. And it turns out this graveyard is filled with demon slayers that have all died fighting against demons or upper ranks or Muzan or something like that. And it's just like it's like the Keyblade graveyard. Like there are tombstones everywhere. So that kind of builds up some hype. It's like, oh man, a lot of demon slayers have died. And you know, that makes sense. I mean, like they're fighting demons and they can only fight the demons in the dark, and all these demons have blood art and we're just humans. I'm gonna get to a point about that later towards the end of the review, or also including the movie, but it's a point made later in the movie. We'll go ahead and talk about it now. Asuka, the upper rank 3 demon, the martial artist, he talks about like, oh, you know, if you become a demon, your limbs will regenerate almost instantly. But if you're human, if your arm's cut off, it won't grow back. If I break your spleen, it's not going to grow back. Like, he's like, there's a benefit. So I kind of get it, like showing like, oh, these demon slayers died because they can only fight you at night. Whereas like, I mean, you won't fight us in the daytime. So yeah, you have the advantage. So, kind of cool. Although, and I mentioned this later, especially in the Hashira training arc where the master dies, he says as he's walking with his wife, I'm dying. And I know this is kind of introduced maybe when we met the Hashira just like a few chapters ago. It might have been brought up that like he's dying. But as I said, because his face is like it's covered in poison, because the Zorsmith village arc is like 2 arcs away, why did the poison demon not be like influential to like how they look? Because they kind of look the same, the poison demon and then, you know, the master's face. Like after Tanjiro cut off the poison demon's head, maybe it could have cured the master, maybe he could have been inflicted by that 4th rank upper demon. Like, I don't know, I would have tied that together, because knowing that the master is like the leader of all the Hashira, so he has to be the most powerful, but also knowing he does nothing in the manga up to the Hashira training arc that I've seen, because we already talked about the Hashira training arc movie. I thought it sucked. I wouldn't even call it that a movie. It was basically 2 episodes that could have been on Crunchyroll. And I know Mugen Train was also 7 episodes. I found that out later because I could have watched it on Netflix, but I wanted to watch it as a movie as the way that I first took it in, and I liked it as a movie. I think it's a great movie. Short version of that, it's a great movie. But yeah, I didn't get much of this master or how strong he was or anything. So him randomly saying he's gonna die and your poison face has nothing to do with the 4th rank upper demon that's also poison faced, I'm like, that's kind of a missed opportunity to me. But basically, it's just to show off that like a lot of demons have died. And yeah, so he's talking to his wife, and we get the exposition about that. We then flip over to Inosuke, Tanjiro, and Zenitsu, and Inosuke is trying to fight this train. And I remember even thinking, rewatching this movie as well as reading the manga. But even when I first saw it, I was like, well, no, when I first saw the movie, I thought it was funny that he was attacking the train. But reading the manga, even though in the context from like originally watching Mugen Train the movie like years ago, that Inosuke knew that it was a demon, I was like, that is probably with his sense of touch, like the powerful sense of touch he has, like how Zenitsu has a powerful sense of healing, and Tanjiro has a powerful sense of smell. His powerful sense of touch probably told him like this is a demon. So him trying to fight the train in the beginning of the movie was kind of funny. And it's played for gags because like even Tanjiro doesn't know what a train is. He's like, what is this thing? Because I guess the time period that this is taking place of, like, this is like, we're just now getting into like, even in Dr. Stone, we're just now getting into like industrial time period, like when trains and cars are getting built and things like that, or whatever that's called. And so Tanjiro's not used to seeing like that because he's just living in the woods and walking on foot and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And especially because, like I said, knowing Inosuke has a sense of touch. And then Zenitsu basically like having like a smart moment, like telling like, oh gosh, you guys are so immature, you don't know what a train is, this is what people use to get around and things like that. Some other random like ish dialogue, like, you know, you can't have a Zord out in the open on a train, I mean a weapon obviously, so they have to sneak on their weapons. And that's when we eventually like find out like, hey, we're supposed to be meeting up with Rengoku, the Flame Hashira. He's on a mission, so we're supposed to meet up with him. Now I can only use this as an example because I just watched the Swordsmith Village arc's ending. You know, when Nezuko wakes up and she says, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I know it's the only word she learned because she's just learning to speak human again. But that was annoying as fuck to hear her say good morning like a million times. Because even in here, Rengoku says tasty like 20,000 times.
Tasty.
That's the Flame Hashira?
Tasty.
Not just some random glutton?
Tasty. Tasty.
Excuse me, sir.
Tasty.
Rengoku?
Tasty!
Yeah, we heard you the first 50 times.
And I get maybe it's supposed to be funny, but I was just like, you're wearing out the joke. But, alright, so let's talk about the movie. So when Tanjiro meets up with Rengoku, he asks him like, hey, I was told that you might know something about like fire breathing. And he's like, it might be similar to your flame breathing. And the fire Hashira, Rengoku's immediately like, never heard of fire breathing. I'm the flame Hashira and I've never heard of anything like that. So let's just drop that for now. And I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, okay, so we're not going to learn anything about that. Well, I mean, we eventually do, but like not in this arc. But he goes on to say like, you know, every art, every Nichiren Zord represents like the color of your Nichiren Zord represents like your power. Like if it's gray, you use stone. If it's yellow, you use thunder. If it's blue, you use water style. If it's like navy or no, if it's white, you use mist Hashira. Red, you use flame breathing. But he's like, I've never seen someone with a black Nichiren Zord. Usually someone with black means that they can't master any of the breathing techniques. He's like, you're incredibly weak. That means you have no talent for anything. And I thought that was funny because something we learned in the next arc. Like, the payoff is almost immediately. It's literally in the next arc after this movie that you learn the payoff from that. But since we're not there yet in this review, I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, that's pretty funny. So remember that now, that like, Rengoku makes fun of him for like having a black Zord. He's like, anybody with a black Nichiren Zord has never mastered any kind of breathing technique. So, or they can't decide, because we know like he has fire breathing and then he also has water breathing. But he's like, you know, anybody with a black Zord, they've never mastered anything. So pretty funny, something to remember. Now we go on to learn that like the reason why Rengoku's here is because 40 people have disappeared on this train. Like randomly they'll get on this train and before they ever reach their destination, they all disappear. And he's like, he believes a demon's involved. And it turns out that the way that this demon's blood art works, because the demon is on the demon is the train. I mean, that was kind of obvious from the title Mugen Train. But upper rank or lower rank demon 1, the guy that like is obsessed with dreams and told Muzan to kill him, and Muzan gave him more of his blood to get stronger. So when you get on this train, you're not immediately in his blood art, but a conductor comes by, and if he clips your ticket, you're under the spell. Like, you're immediately trapped inside of like basically like an infinite Tsukiyomi sort of kind of thing, where like you're trapped in an endless dream loop and you won't wake up. Well, some people can wake up if you're a powerful demon slayer. You sense a demon is around or something like that. But he can put you in he can put you in a deeper sleep. You know, if he can destroy your inner cores, and we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, I thought it was pretty creative. Like, you know, the conductor comes around and clips your ticket, and now you're under the demon spell. Because like there's even a moment where like the train light flickers and it tells you like, okay, something just changed. And I cut onto that in the movie as well. It's not so much obvious in the manga, and I will praise the movie being better than the manga for this, because like the battle scenes later against the train demon, who I forgot his name already. I don't know. I'm gonna call him Mugen, but that's not his name. Anyways, so then a demon just blatantly shows up in the middle of the train, and Rengoku takes it out with a single strike. So it's pretty cool. I will give it that. It's a very cool scene, like how he takes out with like one cut. And then a second demon shows up as well. I don't know if that happened in the manga, but I know it happened in the movie. And immediately Inosuke and Tanjiro and Zenitsu are drawn to him. They're like, "Big bro, you're so strong, train us." And he's like, "All right, I'll train you weaklings. You'll from now on be my you will now be my subordinates." And I would think that's weird, like how they're immediately drawn to like a Hashira they don't even know, especially Tanjiro after he just got made fun of less than an arc ago by all these Hashiras and looked down upon because they wanted to kill his sister Nezuko, the Flame Hashira included. But the Flame Hashira is basically like, "Oh, I respect the the master's wishes." He says Nezuko's cool, so I'm fine with it. Although it's later revealed more about why, because Nezuko will protect the humans later when they realize they're under sleep. So again, very cool. Now, while they're sleeping, because they don't realize they're asleep because their tickets have been clipped, these little kids are going around and they're tying ropes to their hands. So, like the conductor, the reason why he's putting these people to sleep is because the Mugen demon is basically like, he's like killed his family or whatever, I guess. And he's like, "Hey, if you kill these demon slayers for me, or if you put them under sleep, I'll finally give you the peace to let you see your family again." And there's a fucked up thing about that too. We're gonna get to that in a second, but it's very fucked up what that demon does. So he gives you a peaceful dream. He'll let you see your family again. So he like puts the conductor to sleep. And so the conductor's happy. He's falling asleep. He's like, "Oh, finally, I can see my family again. I can be with them forever." And then he's tricked these kids. Like, he's kept these kids awake. And he's like, "Hey, you guys want a peaceful dream? Tie a rope to these demon slayers, but do not touch them, because if you touch them, they'll wake up. They'll realize that demons here. But as long as you are tied to them by this rope, you can enter their dreams. You can enter their subconsciousness. And once you're there, go outside of their dream, because the way this dream works, it's kind of like a time loop, like a looper. So the way that he keeps them in his dream is like, as long as you stay within a certain parameter and don't go into your unconscious mind, like, it's hard to describe, but like you have a unconscious or subconscious mind, or maybe it's the unconscious mind and the subconscious mind, whatever. You're in a dream state, but that dream's gonna loop. It's a happy dream to like keep you wanting to stay there or whatever. But anyway, he's like, if you guys go out if you enter their dreams and go out and destroy their spiritual cores, like the thing that makes them them, if you destroy that, they will be asleep forever, and then I'll give you a happy dream. So these kids are down to do it. They're like, "Oh man, I'm so tired." And you can tell by the way they look, they're exhausted. And so they sneak into their dreams and they go to try to destroy the cores. Now we're gonna talk about each person's dream. So Rengoku is dreaming of his father, like the last thing he ever said to his father. Like, he was trying to tell his father, like, "Hey, I became a Hashira. Are you proud of me?" And his dad's like, "Oh, I used to be a Hashira. I don't give a shit that you became a Hashira. You're a useless swordsman like me. I don't know why you bother." We don't learn here why he's like that, but again, next arc, I don't want to talk about anything outside of this arc, but his father's an asshole basically. And yeah, so Rengoku felt kind of bad, like that was his last interaction with his dad. But to his brother Sengoku, he's like, hey, you know, if you don't want to be a Hashira, you don't want to be a demon slayer, you don't have to. Feel free to chase whatever dreams you want. I love that. I love that for him. I think this is also where we get like a glimpse of Rengoku's mother. She dies mysteriously. We don't know why, but she says she's sick. But she tells him, like, you know, I'm proud of you. I love you. And the reason why you were given this strength, Rengoku, is so that you can protect people weaker than you. That's your whole thing. So that's Rengoku's dream. We then go over to, I think Inosuke's next. And Inosuke, his dream is that he's the leader of the group, Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Zenitsu, but Nezuko is kind of like his girl, and then like Tanjiro and Zenitsu are like these like raccoons that follow him. It's pretty funny. It's really random, but it's pretty funny. And then in Zenitsu's dream, obviously he's a simp for Nezuko. He's like, oh, Nezuko, I'll carry you. Like there's a puddle of water, and Nezuko in the dream was like, oh, I don't want to get my dress wet. He's like, I'll carry you on my back, on my shoulders, or whatever. So, because we know from Zenitsu's past, or what we know about him so far, he wants to just be useful to somebody. He wants to like find a woman that he can be useful to. So I thought that was pretty funny and cute. Definitely played more for laughs in the movie than the manga, because in the manga you do get that humor, but like in the movie it's more obvious. And then we finally go to Tanjiro's dream. And can you guess what Tanjiro's dream is? If you guess that it's his family, of course. His family's alive. They never die. Now, what's great is the only one we do not see immediately is Nezuko. And there's a reason for that. Because in the beginning of the dream, his family's kind of keeping him there. They're like, oh, Tanjiro, we're so happy you brought back the coal. And Tanjiro's kind of aware that, like, this is a dream. He's kind of aware, like, something's going on. Because, like, there's a version of him in his subconscious that's even yelling at him like, hey, wake up, this is a dream, get out of here. At first it's like he recognizes his demon slayer outfit, but then that disappears in the dream because he's sinking deeper. Then he realizes like he has a itch. He sees like Nezuko's box when he's like looking for like, I think he's like doing like regular chores. He sees Nezuko's box. He's like, why is that out here? And then that disappears. So it was pretty clever. I liked it in the manga and the movie. This is the first time reading in the manga, second time watching in the movie, but I thought it was pretty clever because I was aware of Demon Slayer when I watched Mugen Train the first time, but like now I know everything. And so meanwhile, these kids are sneaking inside of each other's dreams and going after their spiritual cores. So we're going to get back to that in a second. So let's talk about the Mugen demons like plan real fast, because you would think, I was thinking like, he's a demon. Why are you giving people these pleasant dreams? Like, why are you making them all happy? I mean, obviously you're going to kill them. So, you know, it's not like, you know, it's like the witch from Hansel and Gretel, like how she like tricks the kids in with candy and food and fatten them up and like, oh yeah, keep eating because she's gonna eat your ass. It's kind of like that. But what he likes to do is he likes to give you a happy dream before giving you a nightmare. Like he loves like the excruciating like shock that you get from like going from this happy dream to like immediately being sad and tortured and angry and crying. He loves that shock that you're gonna get. If he gives you a nightmare off the bat, you're already gonna be sad, but it's stronger if he gives you that good little dream first. So I thought that was pretty cool. Very creative for like this evil motherfucker. So then all the kids try to start destroying the spiritual cores. The one that really stands out though is gonna be Rengoku. But let's go in order real fast. Or not in order, let's go by like relevance. So I started with Rengoku's dream first, so we'll start with Rengoku. So the girl, a girl goes after, it doesn't matter what the children's names are because they're just for this movie, but one of the girls tries to cut open Rengoku's dream, and outside of his subconsciousness, she just sees flames everywhere. She's like, oh man, it's so hot in here. I don't know how I can do, but she finds a spiritual core, but before she goes to stab it, before she can stab him, he immediately grips her neck like Guy Sensei. Like she compares it like just a beast. Like instinctively, Rengoku's mind knew he was in danger. Like his subconscious knew, so he attacked her, but he didn't kill her because also his mind is aware that she's not a demon. At the same time, he knows that she's trying to kill him, so he's basically just got her in a death grip, but he's not going to finish her because she's a human. At the same time, it's not gonna let her kill him. So in the dream state, she's frozen from destroying his spiritual core, but in the real world, she's being choked to death by Rengoku, and they're just in a death grip. Now, going to Inosuke's second, in Inosuke's dream, one of the boys is looking for his spiritual core, and all of a sudden, Inosuke is running at him on all fours, looking like a boarhead demon, and the kid's just like running for his life. He's like, "What the fuck are you?" I thought that was great. I thought that was hilarious. That's great payout. Oh, sorry about that. Lastly, we go over to Zenitsu's dream, and I think it's another boy in this dream where he's like in darkness. He doesn't know where Zenitsu's core is, and all of a sudden Zenitsu, looking like a skeleton and like a bone-dried monster, is like, "What's a boy doing in my head?" And he's like, "You're not a girl. You have to die." And he like chases him with scissors. Again, really funny. It's more funny in the movie because you can see like animated and him running around. But I thought it was pretty funny in the manga too. And lastly, in Tanjiro's dream, I think it's another boy. Again, it doesn't matter what the gender of the kids are, but that's what I'm remembering them as. He goes to find Tanjiro's core, but he can't find it at first. But he goes to find Tanjiro's core, and he immediately is met like by this calm lake, this like clear blue sky, and he's like, "Oh man, it's so peaceful here." And that's going to be relevant in a second towards the end. So that's what's happening with the kids. So there's a couple subplots. You got the Mugen train demon on top of the train, just like, you know, letting the minions take care of the demon. Quick insert here. So actually, it's not that the Inemu is just like letting the minions do his deeds for him. So the important part that I kind of left out is that the reason why Inemu doesn't kill the demon slayers himself by going into their dreams and destroying their cores is because you can sometimes be influenced by people's dreams when you enter them. So he says something along the effect of like, one of the kid that goes inside of Tanjiro's dream, he can't find the core himself, so he's guided to it by like Tanjiro's like mind. It's like these little light figures, and they lead him directly to the spiritual core. They don't know what he's gonna do to it, but they guide him there. And he has a chance to destroy it, but instead he's overwhelmed by like Tanjiro's kindness that like he can't do it. And that's why they say Inemu doesn't enter their dreams, because if Inemu enters your dreams, he'll be influenced in some way by the person's thoughts and feelings, which kind of makes sense and is very unique, because I was wondering that too. I was like, if you're this powerful and at the very end we find out you can use your full power, I'm like, why don't you just do it yourself? I mean, obviously you can just be a bad guy, you know, want to use minions for it, but pretty cool explanation for him. You got the kids infiltrating the demon slayers' minds, trying to like destroy the spiritual cores. And then we finally have Nezuko, who rolls out of the box because she didn't get a clip taken. She didn't get like her, you know, under the spell. She didn't get a clip taken, but she realizes like something's going on. She's like, Rengoku's choking one of the girls in a chokehold. And I'm also forgetting to mention, like, I love how like everybody's laying, like Tanjiro's falling asleep on Rengoku's shoulder, like, you know, like an older brother would do, or like a younger brother would do to the older brother. Like my nephew does that when we saw Kung Fu Panda 4. He like lays his head on my shoulder. Like that kind of like relationship, like a younger sibling to an older sibling, you like lay your head on them. Then you have like Inosuke just sprawled out over Zenitsu, which I thought was pretty funny. But great humor. But Nezuko wakes up, she's looking around, she's like, "What's going on here?" And she tries to like wake them up, but nothing's happening. Like she tries shaking Tanjiro, he's not waking up. Then she tries to headbutt him, and as she draws her head back, her head starts bleeding. Are we gonna explain Tanjiro's hard head, or is that just like a funny gag? Because something that happens in the next arc, which again we're gonna talk to later. I'll talk about in the next video. But again, yeah, her head starts bleeding, so she starts crying, which I thought was pretty funny. The whole theater laughed, including me. I even laughed again at home, and that sets her up. But she activates her blood demon art and like sets her brother on fire. Now, in the dream state where Tanjiro is, those flames fully reawaken his mind. He's like, "Oh crap! This is Nezuko's demon blood art. This is Nezuko's fire. I am dreaming. I've got to get out of here." And he starts running out of the house, and his brother's chasing him, like the dead brother. This is just a dream, but the dead brother's like, "Hey bro, come back, stop, don't leave us." And Tanjiro's crying to him, so he's like, "I can't, you're not real. I'm sorry that you died, but I have to protect what I still can protect." And as he's running and about to make it out of his spiritual dream, which he didn't know how to get out of yet, but as he's trying to make it out of his spiritual dream, Nezuko, human Nezuko from the past, tries to pull him back in. She's like, hey, bro, where you going? I just got back. I just got water from the lake. So this is the clever part where, like, the Nezuko was missing from the picture. And I remember, like, the first time watching this in the movie theater, I did forget that Nezuko would be there. I'm like, yeah, Nezuko's the sister. Why would she be there? But once again, Tanjiro's mind tells her, like, you're not real because you're not burning up in the sun. You got turned into a demon. I couldn't protect you. And so once again, Tanjiro starts running, and he just realizes he's getting nowhere fast. Like I said, it's an endless loop. So no matter where you run to, it doesn't matter. Like, there is a space in the unconsciousness where your spiritual core is, where maybe he could get to if you know how to get there. But he's not aware of that. So he eventually figures out, like, okay, there might be only one other way to wake up. So you know how you have a dream, and I want to talk about something in a second as well that's personal to me. But you know how, like, in a dream, like, where if you're like have a dream that you're falling, whether you're falling actually from your bed or falling in your dream, you just wake up afraid. He realizes, like, okay, there's only one way to wake up. I can't fall, but if I kill myself or if I die in my dream, maybe I can shock myself awake, because your brain will do that. And so he holds his sword to his neck. He's like, if this doesn't work, I will die. But if this does work, then I'll wake up. Either way, I've got to do something, because I know that I'm in a dream. I know this is the demon's doing. And he cuts his neck and he shocks himself awake. Now, really quick side tangent. So my dad passed away in 2009 in a car accident. And maybe a few years or so ago, I had a dream that my dad was still alive. Like, it was a dream, and I kind of should have known it was a dream because my dad was alive. He was there. And I was the same age I am now, and I ran up to him and I hugged him and I told him I loved him and I told him I missed him and everything. I was just so happy to see my dad again. But in my dream, it wasn't like he came back to life. In my dream, it was like he just never died. And so when I woke up that next day, I like looked around and I was like, where's my dad? And then it hit me again that was a dream, and I cried. I was very sad that day. And I told my brother and told my sisters that, and I was like, man, I had this really powerful dream that dad was alive. And I woke up and I even looked for him. I was about to call him, and then I just remembered it. So that's one thing I thought was really powerful, like how I guess fucked up this demon is to, like, give you that happy dream, help you, make you remember, like, somebody that passed away, or remember your family, and then, like, just make you wake up to that reality that, like, no, it's not real. I mean, obviously he's not gonna wake you up. He's gonna eat you while you're dreaming, but, like, that realization is really sad. And so, give me 1 second, guys. So with Tanjiro now awake, as well as Nezuko, like, they have, like, this little short reunion, and then Tanjiro assesses what's going on. He's like, okay, Rengoku has this little girl in a chokehold, and Tanjiro and Zenitsu and Inosuke are still sleeping, and they're tied to these ropes to these kids. He's like, I have a feeling I shouldn't cut these ropes. And we learn from the Mugen demon, like, yeah, if you cut those ropes, they'll be trapped and in the sleep forever. Like, they'll both die. It'll kill both users. So he tells Nezuko instead, like, he's like, hey, Nezuko, use your blood demon art to sever these strings. And the moment Nezuko uses her blood demon art flames on him, immediately everybody wakes up. All right, another quick intro here. So no, everybody doesn't immediately wake up, but they start to. And this is where the kids attack them out of nowhere, because they were also attached to the ropes. The little girl from the little girl from Rengoku's dream, and then, like, the other two kids from Inosuke and Zenitsu's dream. They all have knives and they're trying to stab him and kill them. They're like, hey, we just want to go to sleep. Can you hurry up and die? And of course, Tanjiro takes them out because they're just kids and they don't have powers or abilities. And the other kid, that's when he shows up, and he, like, is basically like, oh, you influenced me with your dream, and so I'm on your side. But yeah, just that's what happens to the kids, so I want to make sure I put that in there. So the Mugen Train demon's disappointed. He's like, ugh, you guys took way too long to kill these guys, so now I've got to do everything myself. And that's when it's revealed that the whole train is a demon, is the Mugen Train demon itself. And it starts using, like, I guess it's intestines, it's like stomach, large intestine. It looks like, intestines, the way that would move, and they start wrapping around Nezuko and Inosuke and Zenitsu and Tanjiro. And so at first, like, they're all fighting back. Like, Nezuko is, like, stomping, cutting away, slashing at all the tentacle intestines that are wrapping around the people, or burning them. You've got, at one point, Nezuko gets captured as Zenitsu coolly saves her, like, in his, like, dream state. He's like, don't worry, Nezuko, I'll protect you. And then a second later, he's, like, snoring and sneezing. I thought that was pretty funny. especially getting the gag now, because when I first watched the movie, I didn't understand that gag that much. But I knew Zenitsu was strong, but I didn't understand the gag that much. And I think Tanjiro makes another joke again about, was that thunder in the back or lightning in the back of the train or something like that. And then, you know, Boarhead and Nosuke is like cutting away at all the intestines. But then it starts becoming way too much for all of them. That's when Rengoku fully wakes up and he burns all the intestines around them. And so, again, very cool scene. And that's when, oh no, wait, I'm forgetting something. Tanjiro, that's why Tanjiro said that, because Tanjiro was in the room. So yeah, before Nezuko woke everybody else up, she said to Nezuko, like, hey, I'm leaving you in charge of waking everybody else up. I'm going to go confront the Mugen Train demon myself. So yes, Tanjiro left, because this is going to be important in a second. Tanjiro went to fight the Mugen Train demon on top of the train. And then Nezuko woke everybody up. And then everything else happened, like Nezuko getting captured at one point, Zenitsu saving her, and Nosuke saving her as well. And then, you know, Rengoku waking up and saving all three of them. Now on top of the train, the Mugen Train demon's like, oh, you didn't enjoy that dream I gave you? You didn't enjoy seeing your family again? But he's like, well, how about I show you a dream of your father? And that pissed, why am I getting all the names mixed up? That pissed Tanjiro off. Understandably so. It would piss me off too if a demon was playing with me and told me, let me see my father again. Now, if you have read Shobu vs. Shinry, The Sword of Light, you already know the similarities between this demon, Inemu. That's his name, Inemu, the train demon. You know the parallels between Inemu and Jagan from The Sword of Light. So in my book, Jagan, he used, I think it was called Nightmare Realm or something. I gave it some kind of cool name, where you basically do the same thing this demon's doing to Inemu's doing to the Demon Slayers, where like they relive their worst strife. For Shobu, it was losing his mother, being killed by Lord Makanui, aka Akami Makanui, if you don't know that. And then his father dying by Tao Tai, burning him alive. And Shobu went to that loop. And he tries like different things. He like tells his mom, like, hey, mom, don't go there. And she gets killed anyway. He tells his dad, like, stay away from Tao Tai. He still gets burned. And then other characters, Sentakai, he kept losing Princess Daisy and over again. Keto kept seeing Eliza frozen. Again, you have to have read the Sword of Light to know what I'm talking about, but this is just showing my similarities that I used in my own, similarities that happened in my own book. So, Celicia, who was the mother of Riku, she died giving childbirth. So in her nightmare, she's giving birth over and over again and dying over and over again. And it basically all came down to the only people that were affected were Shinry, Diana, and I think it was Shinry, Diana, and Sora, I believe. Or it was somebody else. Shinry and Diana were definitely the one I know weren't affected, because Shinry had never experienced strife. He didn't know who his family was. He never lost anything. So Shinry had no strife. And Diana didn't know her family either, so she had no strife. So Jagan's ability didn't work on them. So that's kind of what I was giving, like, when I was reading this. Even watching the movie the first time, I was like, wow, I did this same kind of arc. But like 3 chapters, I think that was like 3-chapter arc in The Sword of Light. But either way, I thought it was really creative because we had similar ideas. And like, you know, writing a story, we aren't creating new things all the time. Sometimes we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just like putting our own spin on it. And I had never read Demon Slayer at that point, because Shobu vs. Shinry, The Sword of Light was written in 2006. So, and then it's been republished since then, in like 2017. So I was like, this was really cool to see that, like, the similarities that we had. Anyways, so yeah, with Rengoku now awake, we keep going back and forth, because now we have Tanjiro fighting Inemu on top of the train, and then we have everybody else below deck. So there's 8 cars in this train, and Rengoku's like, hey, I'll take care of the 3 trains in the back. Zenitsu and what is her name? Nezuko, you guys take care of the 3 cars in the front. And Boarhead, we're gonna talk about him in a second. But yeah, so Tanjiro starts fighting Inemu. It was kind of a cool fight, because she's trying to put Tanjiro to sleep by, like, you know, using his hand things, because he has eyes on his hands, so he just says sleep. Now, the way that this is portrayed in the manga is kind of worse, because like you understand what's happening. Like, he tries putting Tanjiro to sleep constantly, and despite Tanjiro seems to be falling under it, he realizes like Tanjiro is somehow staying awake, and that's because every time Tanjiro goes to sleep, he stabs himself in his dream to like wake up. And I knew where this was going before we ever got there. I knew what would happen before we got there, so we'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, Tanjiro's running at him, and like in the manga panels, again, you can't really tell that Tanjiro's falling asleep. But in the movie, they do a great job because as Tanjiro's running to him, you'll see him fall asleep and stagger for a bit, but then get back up and keep running. And that's when Enemu realizes, like, oh my god, this dude's willpower is insane. He has to be psychotic. To kill yourself within a second of falling asleep, I mean, you know it's going to wake you up. You know that it's a dream, but to even do that is insane. He's like, you have to have incredible willpower to do something like that. And so, instead of giving Tanjiro that pleasant dream over and over again, he gives Tanjiro a nightmare where his family is dead. But, like, not only are they dead, they're, like, blaming him. They're like, it's your fault they're dead. It's your fault you were dead. You should have been the one that died, not us. Yada, yada, yada. You should have been here that night. Eventually even showing Tanjiro's father and being like, I'm disappointed that you couldn't protect your mother or your siblings or your sister. And that just pisses Tanjiro off. And he goes to cut Enemu's head off, and he does successfully. Now, even in the movie, I thought that'd be anticlimactic. I was like, that was too easy. You killed that demon way too easily. Well, the movie already knew what the answer to that problem would be. It turns out that that's not even Enemu's body. That's like, you know, you remember that SpongeBob movie where like the old lady, when she's trying to give him ice cream, he's trying, like the monster's trying to trick him with ice cream, and he has like this appendage of an old woman, but like it's like his tongue or something. I'm gonna see if we can find that clip and clip it in here.
Hey, look, free ice cream!
Oh boy.
How you doing? Wait a minute! SpongeBob!
Yeah?
Make mine a chocolate!
Got you covered. 2, please.
Certainly. You kids enjoy.
Actually, we're men, lady. But thanks. Okay, Patrick, let's... you can let go now. I said let go, please. Ugh. Ugh. What is this? Ugh. What kind of old lady are you?
That's what Enemu was. Like, Enemu is the train, but that was like, and that's his real body. I mean, that's what he really looks like, but that was like a fake of his body. His real body is the train itself, and his neck is in the conductor's area. And he's like, oh man. And Tanjiro goes to cut it, and it works at first. I'm forgetting to mention that the conductor's there in the train as well. Like, I guess like the second conductor. We'll get to him in a second, because what happened with him I felt was kind of random and unnecessary, but it happened. But the conductor's there. Anyways, Tanjiro tries to cut the demon's neck, Enemu's neck, and it reveals, like, you know, a huge neck right there. But before he can cut it a second time, because he has to cut through like this steel floor first, it immediately heals up and regenerates. And he's like, damn, I have to cut this, like, I have to basically cut it twice and really fast. He's like, I need some help. He's like, Inosuke, please help me. And that's when Inosuke leaps out in this cool scene, and he's like, of course I got your back. And I thought that was really fun, very cool. Now, I'm going to talk about this next part pretty fast, pretty quickly. So, they end up in this, like, dome-ish, like, kind of thing, where, like, Enemu's neck is right under them, and then, Inosuke's going to help him. He's like, hey, we'll cut at the same time, and we'll be able to sever this thing's neck, but we got to cut fast. And because Enemu realizes, like, okay, these guys are going to, like, stop me, or they're going to kill me, all these eyes open everywhere. And this is where I knew something would happen. So it immediately puts Tanjiro to sleep once again, because all these eyes are everywhere. Like, you can't avoid these eyes. And Tanjiro keeps waking up over and over again. In the manga, you're not going to see this scene as well as you see it in the movie. So watch the movie version first. I don't even know if I can clip the movie in here, because I don't want this video to get copyright taken. So I'll use the manga panels. But yeah, Tanjiro keeps trying to cut the neck, but every time he wakes up, one of the eyes catches his attention, and he's like, there's no way to, like, cut this thing. There's no way to stay awake long enough to cut this thing's neck, because the moment I wake up, I'm gonna see one of these eyes. And eventually it gets to the point where Tanjiro's like, okay, well, I just gotta do it. And he's like, I'll just keep waking up faster. I just gotta wake up so fast and cut it immediately when I wake up. And I know what happened, because in the movie, when this happens, Tanjiro's constantly falling asleep. I just trying to cut it. But I knew at one point, you're going to be awake, and it's going to trick you into killing yourself, because you'll see in the movie the eyes are closed because the demon knows, like, this is how I'm going to kill him. Like, I've tricked him enough. I've made him think, like, you know, to do this action over again without thinking he's going to kill himself the next time. So Tanjiro goes to cut his neck, and Inosuke is like, wait, you idiot, you're not sleeping, you're awake. Don't fall for petty tricks like that. And even I knew that would happen. Although, like I said, in my book, Shinry and Diana weren't affected by the Nightmare Realm, so because they had no strife. And one of the characters too, I just can't remember who that was. I want to say Sora, Puck, or Rai, but Rai had trauma, so it couldn't have been Rai. Sora might have had trauma, but either way, Shinry and Diana definitely weren't affected. And that's how they saved everybody else. Well, I'm not going to reveal how they saved everybody else, but they saved everybody else. But here, Inosuke saves him. And Tanjiro wonders briefly. Well, Tanjiro figures out immediately why Inosuke is unaffected. Because Inosuke's borehead is like covering his eyes. Inemu can't tell where Inosuke is looking, so he can't see his eyes. I thought that was very creative. I thought that was very fun. But Inosuke is like, oh, I'm too much of a god for that guy to like put me under his sleep or under his spell. Very funny for Inosuke, very character accurate. So together they once again go to cut Inemu's neck, and this time it successfully works. And that's where I thought the movie should have ended. I was like, that was cool. I mean, obviously some other stuff happens. Oh, the random conductor. Okay, because I was even gonna forget about it. The random conductor stabs Tanjiro as he's trying to like kill the demon. He's like, oh, don't do this. And Tanjiro gets stabbed, and he's like weakened. But that doesn't play into what really happens in a second. Maybe it did. Maybe that's why he was down in this one part I'm thinking about. But like, I felt like that was just kind of unnecessary. You could just have Tanjiro be exhausted, because I know what they were trying to do. But yeah, Tanjiro goes down. Or no, Tanjiro doesn't go down. Tanjiro's like wounded, and they knock out the conductor guy. And then they kill Inemu, and the train topples over, and he slowly dies. Everybody's safe. Rengoku's safe. Nezuko's safe. Inosuke's safe. And Zenitsu are safe. And Inemu's slowly dying. Unlike the other demons, when Tanjiro touches them when they die, this demon had no regrets. He more just was like upset that like he didn't get to show off his full power, which I thought was interesting. I was like, this isn't your full power? Like that would have been interesting to see, because like I was like, that's pretty badass ability. But yeah, supposedly he never used his full power, full potential, and he just dies slowly. But still, it was a great movie. And up to that point, I think it was like an hour and 15 minutes. So I was like, oh, this is a great movie. I was getting up ready to leave. Rengoku then goes over to Tanjiro as he's bleeding out, which I guess, again, this is from that, but I think Tanjiro said he was like tired or wounded. And Rengoku teaches him like, hey, concentrate on your breathing and you can close up your wounds. And Tanjiro struggles with it at first, so like Rengoku touches his forehead, he's like, concentrate here. And the moment he does, Tanjiro is able to seal up the wound. So maybe that's what the cut was for. But I mean, again, you could have just had Tanjiro be exhausted, and that's why he can't participate in this next fight. Although there was a better reason why he can participate in this next fight, but still. So after that, immediately Upper Rank Demon 3 shows up, the martial artist. Now, this point in the movie I thought was kind of dragged out, but again, I have more appreciation for it now, especially knowing that like basically all the Hashiras go down after each arc. Except the Mist Hashira, because in the Zord Smith Village arc, he didn't really go down. I know Tengen got taken out in the next arc, and then Entertainment arc, and Rengoku dies in this arc, so I guess every time Hashira's going to go down in each arc. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Asuka shows up, and he's basically like immediately tries to go for the kill on Tanjiro, but Rengoku blocks him. And Rengoku's like, what do you think you're doing? And Asuka's like, oh, I wanted to kill him because he would have been in the way of our conversation. And Rengoku's like, what conversation? And Asuka's like, oh, I see great potential in you. I can see that you are super strong, and that's why I want to ask you to become a demon. Become like me. This goes back to what I said in the beginning of the video, where like, demon slayers, they can't regrow limbs. Like if you lose your arm, it's gone. You lose your spleen, it's gone. You lose an eye or it's taken out, it's gone. It doesn't heal. But if you become a demon, those limbs automatically come back. Like Inubu's neck instantly healed, even though Tanjiro cut it really fast. And so he's trying to convince Rengoku, but Rengoku's like, no thanks. I thought it was pretty funny. Now, I'm assuming that like this guy, Asuka, the reason why he became a demon is because he was maybe like a martial artist that was like, I mean, it's just from the context clues of the story, but like I'm thinking like because he's a martial artist who couldn't get any stronger as a human, he became a demon so he could like keep getting stronger and keep excelling and stuff like that. One second. And the reason I'm assuming that is because like every demon so far, the hand demon, he like missed having his brother's hand to hold and guide him. The baby demon missed his family, so he tried to make a fake family. The drum demon, I forgot what people didn't like his music or something like that. So, every demon has like some kind of relevance to like what their power is. I guess the train demon would be like he just maybe wanted happy dreams and he never had one. I don't know what the train demons was, but the martial artist guy, because of the way he talks, he's like, oh, your body will never get stronger as a human. You'll reach your peak one day, but as a demon, you can excel to new heights. I can see that being like the martial artist demon Asuka's kind of thing. They get into a spectacular battle. I appreciated it more than I did watching it the first time. I'm not really going to get into the battle because there's not much to say. It's a great battle. But, one thing I will talk about is like, towards the end, Asuka goes to deliver a final blow to Rengoku because he refuses to become a demon, and he punches him with his fist through his gut. And the other fist, he tries to like punch Rengoku because Rengoku's like stomach like holds his fist there, and he's like, Rengoku's like, okay, I'm gonna die because this guy's way stronger than me. But he's like, at least I can do is hold you here till sunlight. We'll both die together. So the demon tries to punch his head off, but Rengoku grabs with the other arm. So you've got his stomach holding, or I guess, you got Rengoku's stomach holding one of the demon's arms. You got Rengoku's hand, one of Rengoku's hand holding the other one, and then Rengoku's other free hand is like trying to stab his blade through the demon's knife, I think, or neck. I think we're trying to sever his neck. So Rengoku's blade is stuck in the side of the demon's neck like that with one hand. One of the demon's hands is stuck inside of Rengoku's stomach and just held there by Rengoku's gut. And then another hand is like being clenched by Rengoku. So they're in a deadlock basically. And I thought it was pretty cool. One thing that immediately confused me though, because we knew the demon could grow his limbs back, is like, I was like, why didn't you immediately just sever your own arms because they're going to grow back? Like, you even said that, so like, why didn't you do that at the beginning? He does do that at the ending. That's how he escapes Rengoku just for daylight. But I thought it was interesting. Like, I was like, that's why did you not do that from the start? Now, the reason why the others don't join in, like Inosuke wants to join in, but Inosuke immediately realizes, like, if I join that fight, I'm going to get in the way. Like, Rengoku is on a whole nother level than me. Zenitsu, I think, was unconscious. Zenitsu and Nezuko were unconscious, and then Tanjiro wanted to help, but again, I think that's why like he like weakened him. He's like, oh, I want to help, but I'm so weak, I'm so wounded, I can't move. And I was just like, you could have still just made it not where he got stabbed. I mean, maybe that's why you stabbed him, so Tanjiro has another excuse to not fight. But yeah, I was like, he could have just been exhausted from his fight with Inubu, or like the shock of constantly killing himself in his dream and then almost killing himself in real life. So I was like, it could have been in a lot of ways, but I guess that's why he got stabbed, so he couldn't interfere. Not that he could have helped anyway, because, there's nothing, like Inosuke said, like, Rengoku's on a whole nother level, so is this upper rank 3 demon. Like, we're not ready for that fight. And, in the end, Asuka is fleeing to escape daylight, because he just broke free. And Tanjiro goes after him. He's like, come back, you coward. Come back and face us in the daylight. We fight you demons at night. And when you had the upper hand, but you're afraid to face us in the daylight. And Asuka was like, you idiot. Of course I'm not going to fight you in the daylight. I'm not running from you because I'm afraid. That's when Tanjiro, like, chucks his blade at him, and it, like, stabs him through. It doesn't kill the third upper rank demon. But I thought that was interesting. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to come back and kill your ass one day. Talking all that shit. And he eventually escapes. Rengoku, as he's dying in his final moments, tells Tanjiro to come talk to him. Now, in the movies, the first time, I felt like this was dragged out because I was like, you should be dead. But in the manga and rewatching it the second time, I gave it more respect because I understand what they were doing. But basically, Rengoku's like, hey, I have some final words to say to my father. I have some final words to say to my brother. And I have some final words to say to you. So starting with my father, tell my father, like, take care of yourself. And we'll understand that in the next arc. Tell my brother he can do whatever he wants. I believe in him. I support him. And then to you, Tanjiro, basically, I don't know anything about fire breathing. It's nothing like flame breathing. But hey, go to my family's house after you tell my father and my brother what I want you to tell them. And just, they might have some papers from the past, like something about the beginning of all, like, something about the beginning that might relate to that. And that's going to be a major reveal in the next arc as well. And I think he gets him like his like pendulum or his guard from his blade. I know Tanjiro got it one way or the other, but he gets that guard. And then as he's dying, he sees his mother. He says, "Hey, did I do a good job? Are you proud of me?" And she says, "Of course I'm proud of you," which I thought was very cute, very, very sweet. In the end, they all cry. It's a very sad moment. Inosuke, Tanjiro, and Zenitsu, they're very sad to have lost Rengoku, who they looked up to as an older brother. Again, kind of weird because they only knew him for like 5 minutes. Literally. Because you got on the train, y'all met him, and then, you know, y'all got into a battle, y'all fall asleep. But whatever. I get you. You can get close to people. Just depends on the relationship and how strong the bonds are. And then, as it ends, we get one of the crows delivers the message to all the Hashiras that the flame Hashira Rengoku has passed away, and they all have different reactions. Nothing really noteworthy, in my opinion. I mean, they're obviously afflicted, they're obviously sad, but nothing really stood out to me. And I think that's where we're gonna end. Overall, Mugen Train, the movie, as well as the manga arc, amazing, great. This was definitely one to turn into a movie. The Hashira training arc was bullshit. That should not have been a movie. That was very ridiculous to even call it a movie, even call it a movie event, whatever special event. It was stupid. This was great. This was movie worthy. This is worthy of calling a movie title from start to finish. I don't know why I hated it the first time. I think, again, because I just said, like, when Goku's bad, the final battle came out of nowhere. I thought the movie should have ended. I think I was bored at that point. But now, as a Demon Slayer fan, I kind of respect it and I like it. I think the Master's wasted, especially knowing that he's going to die. You learn that in the beginning of this movie. And then he does die in the Hashira training arc, which is like 2 arcs away again. And then, let's see, do I have any other thoughts? I think Rengoku's cool. Everybody's just drawn to fire users. I've already talked about that before. And then, yeah, just a great movie overall. I like the Train Demon. Again, I had used this idea in my own book in 2006, and then it got published in 2017. So again, great because of that. Not because I did a similar idea, but just great because that is a great gimmick. That's a great ability to give somebody in the way you used it. And just very perfect movie. So anyways, I've moved on to reading the next arc, which is the entertainment arc. I'll probably finish that start to finish, and then instead of doing the 10 chapters, because I know the entertainment arc is an arc, and then I'll know after that the Zord Smith Village arc. So next we'll be doing arcs from here on, because now I know the arcs compared to like just random things happening. So I'm not sure when the next Demon Slayer video will come out. Next up should be Dr. Stone. There should be 2 Dr. Stone videos back to back because these chapters are great. And then we'll probably get back into One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, whatever drops next after that. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. See you guys in the next one. Talk to you later. Bye. Hey, guys. This video was sponsored by me, the author of the Shinry series, the Chronicles of Wayne, and Monsterverse. So I figured I'd do this outro a little bit different by showing you guys what you guys will be checking out. So, the Shinry series starts with Book 1, Shobu Samurai Project Aryoku. 10 years after the death of his parents, Shobu Samurai returns home, seeking vengeance, but instead faces the choice to save his home from shadow creatures, blood beasts, and an organization once thought dead. Shinry's Shobu Samurai starts at $9.99, and if you love anime, manga, Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, Yu Yu Hakusho, Fairy Tail, Shaman King, Rave Master, Zatch Bell, anything like that, the Shinry series is definitely the series for you. You'll definitely want to check it out. The Sword of Light is probably the thickest one so far, and then these books are 2. This is Enter the Dread Zone Tournament, and the series original ending, Arado the Legendary Conjuring Master. So, and I'll just show you guys some of the covers. Really proud of all of these, but I hope you guys check it out. If you don't like that, I also have the current published books for the Chronicles of Wayne. Love Be Damned, cotton candy, full moons, fabled lovers, a cursed virgin's bite. If you go where monsters dance, red will rain over your house. Love be damned. Now, the Chronicles of Wayne is about a geeky guy, or a nerdy guy in high school. His senior year, he has a crush on the hottest guy in school, because of course he does. He's only got one best friend, and her name is Barb. Well, the hottest guy in school turns out to be a werewolf. And to make the story more interesting, he bites Wayne and turns Wayne into the first ever wolfman in the last 10 years. And because of that, it was also a sacred law that wolfmen should never be created. I don't want to get into too much of the Chronicles of Wayne without spoiling it, but I can tell you it's very short. This one sells for $6.99, and Love Be Caged right after it. The ending of this trilogy, Love Be Liberated, comes out in October. So I'm going to definitely do a more full in-depth review of this one. But yeah, it's an LGBT fantasy fiction story about werewolves, vampires, white witches, a dark warlock, and, well, many, many more surprises to come. So if you guys like to read, I definitely recommend. These are all the books so far in the Shinry series, except for Shinry's Beginning. I do have that one, but it's just not here with me. But yeah, I appreciate a like, support, or just a review on Amazon. Either way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.